Now it's time for our first of 5 finals here on the last day of the opening round of the season. It's Minimax. Let's have a look at the starting grid. So after the pre-final earlier on, it's going to be an all-British front row as Jacob Ashcroft and Albert Friend will be on the front row. Denny Babacek and Rory Armstrong, row 2. Lucas Stordeur and Carty Clark, row 3. Felipe Reyes and Boris Verhaag on row 4, with Maxime Becker and Cole Denham rounding out the top 10. Lars Lambers, Thomas Verheyen, Victor Reutz, João Maria Pereira, Alexander Van Meeuwen, Lienthe Moonen, Jack Freeman, Oliver Warner, Zen Lindemann and Lieke van Berkel round out the top 20. Ryan Gandor, Jeff Verbeek, Tristan Shays, Finn Albert Jorgensen, and we've got Christian Segerson, Bran van der Weken, Maria Roberto, Andres Gallup, Ryan Rampadarath, Ryan Rivers, Kieran Stewart, Nikita Lubimov, Leo Gonzalez, Vic van Kampenhout, Adrien Stions and Cés Moyes, rounding out the 36-strong grid. So for the Minimax drivers, it will be a 13 minutes plus 1 additional lap race. There was also on the start, moving away from the grid, that Thomas Verheyen had a slight issue and actually banged the engine on the right-hand side of the chassis with a little bit of frustration. But hopefully he might have made it through into his grid position, which will be on the outside of row number 6, which looks to be the case. Drivers now steadily make their way through turn number 11. All 36 drivers in tightly packed, organised formation. So, out of the final corner, into the tram lines, revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? The Minimax final gets underway first time. As everyone starts to fan out, Ashcroft leads the way, Babacek looking up the inside, going into turn number 2. And Babacek also trying to get through into third place. It's 3 wide going through into turn 4. One driver makes the opportunity work. As Rory Armstrong looks, and we've had a multiple kart incident. It's a big pile-up off of turn number 6. That is at least a third of the field. We've got the 123 in there, the 117. We've got Zen Lindemann involved in that. The 129 is also there. It is gridlocked at turn number 6. And we have a full course yellow. It looks like we've got a full course yellow. Yes, a full course yellow as a direct correlation to that incident. So the 123, that was Ryan Rivers involved. Cleanup is underway. A very good judgment call by our race director to call a full course caution on that one. A big amount of drivers, and it all started from around, the field were making their way through into turn number 5. Things were bunching up quite a bit, and it's on the approach into the braking zone into turn number 6. Now the top 6 drivers made their way through, but it was behind that everything started, where one kart was found to go backwards, collided with one, and then it set off a big chain reaction. In that involved were Leo Gonzalez, Ryan Rivers, Kieran Stewart, Oliver Warner, Lucas Stordeur. So basically 6 drivers have been eliminated on the spot, and it was like a massive traffic jam on the N25. The amount of drivers that were affected on that. Zen Lindemann was in all of that, but I think he might have managed to get going again. And it just goes to show that one mistake by the smallest amount of contact can cause that to happen. And there were quite a few changes of position happening until that point, but it was just like everything after P8 it was just like people had to avoid. They were having to go onto the grass through the inside of turn 6. Some managed to get away, and then there were carts either on top of each other. Ryan Rivers was trying to lift, push his cart back, get in, start the engine. And that was why the full course yellow was called. So that's just the way that it goes sometimes, that you have that kind of an incident. But we will have a full course yellow until the race director deems it appropriate for the green flag to be waved. So it's going to be that we'll have 4 drivers not taking any further part. The main thing is that everybody is okay. That is the main takeaway from this. So we have lost Lucas Lauder, Oliver Warner, Kieran Stewart, and Switzerland's Leo Gonzalez. So 32 drivers will be restarting the race in the following order: Ashcroft, Friend, Babicek, Armstrong, Denholm, Clark, Verhaag, Verheyen, Van Berkel, Shays, Segerson, Jorgensen. Looks like Maria Roberto has really profited from this. She started 27th, currently 13th, according to the timing as I last saw it. Gallup from Denmark, Lubimov, Lambers, Kampenhout, Rambadarat, Sismois, Freeman, Tions, Gandor, Felipe Reis, Jeffrey Baker, Van Meeuwen, Maxime Becker, Bran van der Wekens, then Lindemann, Jenthi Moonen, João Maria Pereira, and Victor Reutz and Ryan Rivers. So we are counting the timer down. They're now being told to slow. And on this particular lap, we will be back to green flag racing. So once they see the green flag, we saw a perfect textbook restart by Jaden Thien yesterday in one of the senior Rotax heats. As now, green flag waves are back underway. Good start by all of the field. They can't overtake until they get past they can accelerate and then overtake past the yellow line, but there has been a change. Rory Armstrong has gotten past Denny Babicek on the restart, going through into turn 2. And now the action resumes once again. The field a little bit more spread out than it was when we had that incident very early doors. There's quite a few of the drivers making their way through the field, making their way up the order. So a lengthy train is forming. It is being led by Jacob Ashcroft at this time. Albert Friend in second. It was not much between them at the end of the pre-final earlier on. They were literally wheeled to a side pod as they come across the line. That's now lap number 4 in the books. The slipstream is going to start being effective for those drivers outside of the top 12, maybe 15 drivers. Babicek is losing more places because Cole Denham and Kai Clark are trying to get past him. Denham already has done. Clark was looking towards the outside. Looks like Boris Verhaag is trying to get his elbows out as well. He's trying to get through on Babicek, I believe, into turn 7. Can't get through. Runs a little bit wide and someone's gone off, and that is... Oh, that was a rejoin for the 180 of Thomas Verheyen. He held on to that one. And now the 112 closing in on him on this particular occasion. And that is Nikita Lubimov from Estonia. .165 of Finn Albert Jorgensen is there or thereabouts. As now we're going to get a real... Oh, we're going to get a 3 wide into turn number 1 and 2. It was Ashcroft up the inside of Armstrong, who was side by side with Albert Friend. And Armstrong now up into second. Cole Denham has closed on in. The top four after that last lap were covered by just over 4/10 of a second. Armstrong looking for, it's Friend up the inside of Armstrong for P3. Denham looking to go side by side with the youngster from Northern Ireland. Down the Europolan into turn 7. Denham gets through for P3. Babicek waiting in the wings. Verhaag waiting in the wings. Kai Clark. And then Lieke van Berkel is now up into a genuine 8th position. And she started in 20th. 5 minutes and 20 seconds still to go in this final, plus an additional lap. Alexander Van Meeuwen's made his way up to 21st. Bran van der Weken and Ryan Rivers look to be retiring from this race as now the race lead is being contested. It's nearly 2 wheels on the grass from Albert Friend as he goes up the inside. And what a run from absolutely nowhere by the pairing of Cole Denham and Rory Armstrong, who absolutely puts it round the outside of Albert Friend through turn 3 and into turn 4, and he takes second. Albert Friend back up the inside through turn 6 as that is Boris Verhaag trying to go toe-to-toe with Cole Denham. And that's going to be a bit close. Denham runs a little bit wide. Clark might have just gotten through. There's Babicek. There's Van Berkel. There's Lubimov as well. With that lengthy full course caution to clear up the mess on turn 6, it really has compacted the field. So down to 30 we go. Now, it's Cole Denham who leads the way. Jacob Ashcroft is now down in 6th position. Albert Friend now takes back the lead. Rory Armstrong in 3rd. 4th, it's Kai Clark. Boris Verhaag. Jacob Ashcroft now down in 6th position. That was sideways, crossed up from Cole Denham. That allowed him to get through on the inside of Albert Friend, who gives an assist to Rory Armstrong. And it's a strawberry 1-2 at the front of the field. Kai Clark now into 4th position, ahead of Boris Verhaag. Jacob Ashcroft is also closing back in on the quintet in front. 3.5 minutes still to go. And Rory Armstrong at the front of the field. Down into turn 10 at Cafe Corner. Armstrong leads the way. Friend in 2nd. Denham. Then it's Clark. Then it's Verhaag, Ashcroft, Lubimov. Van Berkel is there. Up the inside, that was Boris Verhaag on Kai Clark. And now that's going to give the opportunity for Jacob Ashcroft to pick up the slipstream. Maybe even Nikita Lubimov. And Verhaag is close to losing 3 places. And it does happen because the Estonian gets through. Babicek now gets the crossover through turn 3. Van Berkel also gets through and tangles wheels with the 133, who's off the track off of turn number 5. Now at the front of the field, it's still those two up front. It's Rory Armstrong and Albert Friend. A lot of positional changes in the past couple of minutes. And now it's a case of trying to do your level best, stay where you are, try and defend if you can, attack if you must. And then there is a move by Lars Lambers. That was on Lieke van Berkel for position. That's for 9th on the in the running order as it stands. And Van Berkel's just been forced off the track, and that was by Vic van Kampenhout in the 124. Van Kampenhout went for the move, might have just outbraked himself and took Van Berkel with him. A real shame for Lieke van Berkel. She was doing ever so well up until that point. But now the two up front are starting to pull a little bit of a gap over those just behind. And there's a trio of Dan Holland racing carts, followed by a Buvin power cart in the form of Cole Denham, Kai Clark, Jacob Ashcroft and Nikita Lubimov, the latter being from Estonia. 1.5 minutes still to go, and Ashcroft now decides, right, let's get on with it. Gets through on Kai Clark through turn 9. Lubimov now gets through on the 167 at the very next corner at the right-hander at 10. So there's going to be 3 more laps to go, including this one. We're now on to lap number 11. Armstrong's lead over Friend was just 83 thousandths, and Friend decides now, I've got to start moving. I've got to get through, and he does so through turn 2. Top 5 were covered by just over 1.2 seconds. The top 7, including Denny Babacek in the 1:15, were covered by 1.6 seconds. So 2 more laps to go after this one, and it's not quite over yet. It's not over until the checker flag falls. Armstrong is just over a tenth and a half behind Albert Friend, and the trio behind are closing, most notably Denholm and Ashcroft. The top 4 covered by just over 6 tenths. And now Denholm up the inside of Armstrong. Is Ashcroft going to get through? He might. They have a little bit of a sidewall rub. Ashcroft to the inside of Armstrong, through into turn 7. And then Lubimov tries to get through as well, but gets the door quite firmly shut in the general direction of the front fairing of that 112 entry. And now Ashcroft and Denholm don't have long to go because the timer has expired. Albert Friend leads the way, going through into turn 10 for the penultimate time. It's all about what happens now as Lubimov up the inside of Armstrong for P4 through turn 12. Last lap is underway. Albert Friend still leads. His advantage now over 0.3 of a second. Cole Denholm now goes for the lead, and he came from way back, absolutely way back, and he took the lead from Albert Friend like it was nothing. And Albert Friend goes up to the inside, and Cole Denholm off the circuit. That allows Ashcroft to get through, Armstrong to get through. Lubimov gives Armstrong a little bit of a touch from behind. Cole Denholm gesticulating as if to say, what on earth was that? And now Ashcroft and Friend, the rivalry re-emerges. Now there's just this and 3 more corners, as now Denny Babacek looks to the inside, forces Cole Denholm off the circuit. And oh, Babacek gets spun off himself. And backwards goes Denny Babacek. And the frustration clear to see. But out of the final corner, what's going to happen? The final is going to be won. It is Great Britain's Albert Friend that wins the final. Ashcroft in second. Armstrong takes third. Lubimov and Clark round out the top 5. Cole Denholm finishing in 6th position. Lars Lambers, Felipe Reyes, Boris Verhaag and Germany's Maxim Becker round out the top 10. Great recovery for Alexander Van Meeuwen, who finishes in 11th ahead of Thomas Verheyen, Finn Albert Jorgensen, Jack Freeman and Cés Moyes who ran out the top 15. Completing the top 20, Adrien Stions, João Maria Pereira, Andreas Jerup, Tristan Shays, and well done to Maria Roberto from the UK in 20th. Jent Thimoonen, Lieke van Berkel, Jeff Verbeek, Ryan Gandor, Christian Segerson, Zen Lindemann, Victor Reutz, Ryan Rampadarath finishing in 28th. Denny Babacek with just 3 corners to go, unfortunately out of the race. Vic van Kampenhout out on lap 11, Bran van der Weyken on lap 3, Ryan Rivers on lap 3, with Lucas Lauder, Oliver Warner, Kieran Stewart and Leo Gonzalez out on the multi-cart incident that occurred on the opening lap at turn 6.